it's me, Michaela, and welcome back to my channel. I have brought my balcony chair indoors for the winter now, so I can actually film next to my bookshelf like a true booktuber. How exciting. I'm gonna be starting a new vlog today, and it's gonna be like a fun little spooky kind of Halloween vlog, and we're gonna read a book. It's gonna be exciting. I am recovering from a cold right now, so I'm not gonna lie, I don't look my best. All of my skin is dry because I've been forced to become a mouth breather and I hate it. I miss breathing through my nose so badly. Also, like, my ears need to pop. I guess I've been blowing my nose so aggressively that like my ears are kind of like woo from all the sinus pressure, but whatever. Moving on, let's, talk about what I'm gonna be reading. So I recently actually purchased Dracula by Bram Stoker, and this was actually on my 23 books in 2023 list. So I'm actually taking something off of that. How exciting, reading a book I said I was going to read. I also put this on my fall TBR, I believe, because I had kind of planned to do this video where I'm going to be reading Dracula for the first time in October, right before Halloween. How exciting. I actually really don't know anything about Dracula. I haven't consumed any Dracula. Actually, I haven't really consumed any vampire fiction in general, whether it be like novels or movies or shows or whatever. So this will be my introduction to the vampire world of storytelling. As far as I know, because I don't read synopses, as we know. All I know about this, because I read the first chapter yesterday. I started this yesterday. I did not look nearly presentable enough to be filming the intro for a video, which is why I didn't do this yesterday. But I also wanted to read a little bit because I didn't want to lose my reading streak on Storygraph. I'm sure that makes sense. So I did only read the first chapter yesterday just to kind of get an idea of how long I think it was going to take me to read this, because it is 400-ish, almost 450 pages, I think, and it is a classic, so I kind of wanted to see how digestible the writing was. And based off of the first chapter, it actually is reading much quicker than I was expecting it to, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be really fun and exciting. Already the first chapter, we have the main character, Jonathan, and it's writing, I believe the whole story is through diary entries and letters and whatnot. There is definitely like an English term for when novels or stories are written in that manner, but I did not get an English degree. I got a music degree, so I don't know what it is, but there's definitely a word for that, for this type of storytelling. But it makes for like a very like personal perspective. So far, it's kind of already getting into this like ooky spooky, what's going on here atmosphere. We have Jonathan, the main character, and he is traveling to visit Count Dracula. And I'm sure, as we all know from just general worldly knowledge, that Dracula is a vampire. So I'm sure horrific things will soon begin. I also actually haven't read any horror novels, so I believe Dracula is technically classified as horror, so I guess this is also me reading my first horror book. That's kind of exciting, like a little 2-for-1, reading Dracula for the first time and reading horror for the first time. Woo. So this is what we're gonna be reading this week. I got the lovely Penguin paperback edition because I think these are so pretty while also still being readable. The cloth bound, don't get me wrong, I love them. They are gorgeous. However, I've heard from so many people that they're not very readable because your hands can remove the stenciling on them quite easily. And I'm a person who likes to read the books I have. I'm not a decorative book gal. I am a functional book gal. So I feel like these ones kind of combine the two, and it's the best of both worlds. I'm living my Hannah Montana life with this book. I'm planning on collecting more classics like in this edition. Will my brain work today? I would like it to. So I'm gonna read some more of this today. I'm hoping that, it's Sunday, so I'm hoping I will get maybe 100 more pages of this read today, and then I'll check in with you when I am a decent way through and let you know what I'm thinking about, ooky, spooky, scary skeletons. Not skeletons, it's vampires, but Yes. Oh, I forgot to turn my heater off. Can you shut that up? Thank you. I'm gonna read a bunch of Dracula today. That's the plan. I'm sick, so really all I have on the docket for the entire day is like to sit on the couch and read this book and like blow my nose because I'm so congested. But yeah, I'll let you know when I have more thoughts. Okay. See ya. Hello, hello. Sorry if it is quite dark, but it is really quite the gray, dreary day here in Montreal today. Like, I work, so like by the time I get home, we're getting close to like not that much light anymore. But I'm now about 200 pages into Dracula, so I'm almost halfway through, and surprisingly, like, I'm actually really liking it. It's not that I thought I wouldn't like it, but I kind of was expecting to feel just like averagely about it because it being like a classic and a horror novel, it is like it's not always like my favorite kind. You know, I've never read horror for one, and classics, although I do enjoy them, I don't always like love them, but I am really liking this. The atmosphere in it is like so strong. It's always giving these like creepy, spooky, ooky vibes that I'm loving. It's not exactly what I was expecting. I think like the first bit was a little bit what I was expecting the Dracula story to be, and then once you get into about like chapter 4-ish, the story really becomes something I wasn't expecting. It's actually the letters and the diary entries of many characters and not just Jonathan Harker, who is the character we start with. And they're like, they all feel quite like separate, but they're all connected, and like it all is kind of giving this foreboding feeling through it all, because obviously as the reader, you know more than the characters do. So it's just, yeah, it's really good, and it feels right. Like, at reading this near the end of October, it feels like the correct time of year to be reading this. It matches the overall like chilly, gloomy vibes of October really well. I'm having a great time. I have to say the only thing about it is, again, it's a classic, so although the writing I do find is pretty digestible for it being a classic for me personally, I do find, although I want to be reading it, I'm like sometimes a bit hesitant to pick it up because it's not really something that you can like pick up and read a couple pages of, because it takes a little bit of time, for me at least, to adjust to the nature of this writing. But like once you get used to that classic writing style, then like, and you're in it, it like flows really easily. So like when I'm reading it, I'm loving reading it, and I know I want to be reading it, but like I'm just like sometimes a little hesitant to pick it up because of that first initial 1 or 2 page barrier of like, it's gonna take a little bit to get back into that writing again, as opposed to with like a more modern book, you know, like that's never really a concern for me. You can just pick it up and you read it because it's like, you know, the same way you think, and this is slightly different from how my brain organizes words by itself in the modern days. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm very much liking it. It's not what I was expecting, but in a really great way. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll update you again when I've read some more. Okay. Hello. I am another 100 pages or so into Dracula than when I last left and spoke with you. So I'm now like 320 pages in, and I'm definitely still liking it. We're kind of like got to this point now where like all of the stories have really like come together into one, and we're like kind of on a mission to defeat Dracula, which is really fun. I don't think that's a spoiler. I assume that's like assumed by the story. I have to say, all of the stories with like the patient Renfield is not really my favorite thing to be happening. I'm not a huge fan of it. I do find it to kind of be like the lull in the story every time we get around to it. I find everything else happening much more exciting and spooky, but when it is like filled with there's like a lot of like dread and ominous atmosphere kind of going through the whole book, and I'm really liking that part of it. So I think I'm like kind of feeling like Dracula might end up being like a 4-star, because I just finished the bit where potentially this whole patient Renfield story might actually be getting exciting. Like something exciting might be happening with that where I actually care. But before now, it's kind of just been like, okay, cool, this guy's eating flies. Like, I don't really want to read about that. But I'm hoping that, you know, like, it's another 100-ish pages left, that things are really gonna like pick up and like kind of get even more scary and high stakes and all of that. I'm looking forward to it. I think that there's been like some pretty solid plot things happening throughout that keep the reader very like engaged overall and, you know, questioning, wondering. So it's nice to kind of now see things like really coming together into this like singular story and exactly how it's going to conclude. I'm excited about it. I have to say, the only other thing, like, I really like this copy and I don't, of the book, this edition. I think it's really nice. I feel like it's cute, and I also like that it's like a nice, it's kind of like a tiny paperback, but the writing is like on the smaller side, and it's not like too small. Like, I'm not like reading it and I'm like, oh my god, this is tiny writing. It's just that my prediction in my head of like, oh, this is like a 15-page chapter, I'll read it in about 30 minutes, is like just really wrong, because there's so many more words on a page than I imagine in my mind, and it's also like in more old-timey English writing, so it takes me a bit longer to read it. So that's like my only qualm, which is like really not anything against the book. It's literally just myself being mad at myself for not knowing how fast I can read this book. So I don't even think that's a complaint I can put towards rating the book. It's just a comment that I have. But I'm gonna read some more. I don't know if I'll talk to you again before I finish. So I'll either like see you once more, or the next time I see you, like, I'll be done. I don't know which, but you will in like a few seconds. So I will see you there. Hello, I have finished reading Dracula, and it was good. I'm kind of debating about if I want to give it like a 3.5 or a 4, because I did overall really like it, and the ending was actually really well done. I think it wrapped everything up like brilliantly, while also keeping the like ominous, dark, gothic atmosphere throughout all of it. But at the same time, like I said before, it kind of like had some lulls in the middle that I really wasn't a fan of, mainly all of the like plot points and parts that were telling the story of Renfield, the psychiatric patient of the doctor. So I didn't like that, and it kind of really like brought it down, so I was like forcing myself to read through those. But I don't know if I really want to make that, bring it all the way down to a 3.5 star. And I think because I'm a nice person, I'm gonna give Dracula a 4. I think the atmosphere is great. I think reading it at this time of year when it is so dark and cloudy, hello, sorry that the lighting is potentially horrible right now, you know, like really worked. And I think the descriptions in it are really well done. I think the characters are interesting. I think the plot is really interesting. And I understand why it's a classic. Like, it makes sense. I don't know why I would be shocked that it's good. I feel like it doesn't get to be this well known this far along after being written by being bad. I have officially read Dracula. I have officially read my first vampire novel. I have officially read my first horror novel. We are really accomplishing so much this week, and I get to now tick this off of my 23 books I want to read in 2023 list. So one more done, people. I'm not going to read them all because I am in fact potentially a failure, but that's one less book of a failure than I was last week, so we'd love to see it. If you've read Dracula, I would love to know what you thought of it. Did you like the writing style? Did you find it difficult to read? Did you find it slow paced? Did you find it quite thrilling? Was the horror there for you? You know, I'd also would love to know how people feel about novels that are written through letters like this one is, and diary entries. I think that would be curious. Do you like that? Do you not? I find I do tend to like that because they feel really personal. So those are my thoughts. Tell me yours. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like, give it a little thumbs up because you liked the video, right? You liked it? You liked it. And if you happen to like me, consider subscribing. I'd be happy to have you. And with that, I will see you in the next one. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Bye-bye.